Hello, this is Kenny Underwood coming to you for 1 Minute Sermon. You know, the Bible's full of so many rich stories if we'll just take the time to dig in and read them. I was reading the other day in 1 Chronicles 13, and you can find the same account in 2 Samuel 6 of David when he brought the Ark of the Covenant back to Jerusalem. It seems that David had gone, after he had become king, had gone to get the Ark with 30,000 men. They had gathered it and put it in a cart to transport it back to Jerusalem. God had given the Israelites instructions about how to transport the cart, and only the Levites, who were priests, were supposed to touch it and to transport it with poles through it and carry it. But he had put it in a cart, King David had, and on the way back one of the oxen stumbled, and a man named Uzzah reached up to touch it and to try to stabilize it, and when he did, God struck him down dead. And this angered King David. So he put the ark at a man's house named Obed-Edom. I think I read where he left it there for like 3 months, and while it was there, Obed began to flourish and to prosper and to be blessed. So King David decided to go back and get it, and he got it and he took it back to Jerusalem. And there's that great story when he was entering into Jerusalem, how he was so happy and he was dancing before the ark, and he threw off his kingly garments, and he wore something called an ephod, which was like a linen garment that was worn by common men. But he wore it as he entered the city, and he was dancing and singing and just so happy that he was bringing the ark, which was the personification of God on earth, back into Jerusalem. So effectively he was bringing God back into Jerusalem. You know, there's so many great lessons to be learned from that. One is that God gives us instructions and we are to follow them. King David didn't follow them, and Uzzah faced the repercussions of that. The other has to do with the daughter of Saul, whose name I think is Michal, M-I-C-H-A-L, had a relationship with David. And as he came back into the city, she was watching from a window as he danced in his ephod. And she didn't like it. And she told him she thought it was undignified. And this was his response. David said to Michal, "It was before the Lord who chose me rather than your father or anyone from his house when he appointed me ruler over the Lord's people Israel. I will celebrate before the Lord. I will become even more undignified than this, and I will be humiliated in my own eyes." Isn't that great that he was humble, so humble before God that he didn't care what people thought. He was so happy that he was bringing God back into Jerusalem. He danced in his ephod and humiliated himself to the world, not caring because he answered to God. Isn't that what we should be doing? We should be answering to God and not so concerned about what the world thinks about us. You know, let's humble ourselves before him. He's the one that our allegiance should be to. You know, let me leave you with this question. What leader in the world today would humble themselves like David did before God? What leader of any country in this world would do that today? There's your 1 minute sermon. God bless.